arrival and discontent, an unexpected assignment. Salvador wanted nothing more than to snap the necks of every smug Quasar High Council member as they informed him of his new assignment as ambassador to the pathetic humans of Earth. He seethed with rage, his sharp claws digging into his palms as he barely restrained himself from lashing out. This was meant to be his moment of glory, negotiating the Eleni trade deal that would secure his place in the annals of Quasar history. Instead, these fools dared to exile him to that backwater planet, far from the halls of power he had spent decades navigating. A new mission. The Council droned on, explaining the vital importance of harnessing Earth's newly discovered resource. Failure meant the crumbling of the Quarry Empire's economy and their subjugation at the hands of their rivals. But Salvador barely listened, his mind already plotting how to manipulate the naive humans, secure the resource, and return to his rightful place as swiftly as possible. He would not let this setback define him. He would show them all the depths of his cunning and rise again, no matter the cost. The humans would never know what hit them. First impressions. Salvador's ship dropped out of FTL, the blue and green marble of Earth filling his view screen. The colors swirled together: vibrant azure oceans, emerald forests, golden deserts, alabaster ice caps. It was unlike any Quasar world, which were all shades of brown and gray, every square inch maximized for productivity. The ship descended through the atmosphere, touching down at a sprawling spaceport. Salvador strode down the ramp, squinting at the bright sun. His scales itched in the humid air. A line of humans waited to greet him on the tarmac. "Meet Ambassador Thompson." "Welcome, Ambassador Salvador." The lead human stepped forward, teeth bared in what Salvador recognized as a smile. "I'm Ambassador John Thompson. It's an honor to have you here." Thompson stood nearly as tall as Salvador, with smooth pinkish skin and a patch of brown fur on his head. He thrust out a 5-fingered hand. Salvador stared at it for a moment before remembering the bizarre human custom of shaking hands. He reluctantly grasped Thompson's soft, fleshy appendage, suppressing a shudder of revulsion. He pulled his clawed hand back as quickly as possible. If Thompson noticed Salvador's discomfort, he didn't show it. His smile never wavered as he gestured expansively. The protocols. "I hope this will be the start of a productive partnership between our peoples. We have much to learn from each other." "Indeed," Salvador replied, not bothering to hide his impatience. "I must speak with your world's leaders immediately. There are urgent matters to discuss." Thompson's eyebrows rose. "Of course, but there are some protocols we must follow first. Security clearances, medical scans, cultural briefings. I'm sure you understand. Once that's complete, we'll arrange meetings with the UN Security Council and key heads of state." Salvador's jaw clenched. More delays, but he had no choice but to acquiesce with a curt nod. "Very well, but I must insist this happen as expeditiously as possible." "Naturally," Thompson assured him. "We've arranged accommodations for you in the meantime. I'll show you to your quarters." A world of chaos. As they walked through the spaceport, Salvador took in the chaos of the human facility. Shipments moved on wheeled carts rather than grav lifts. Workers hauled crates by hand instead of using exosuits. Everywhere he looked, he saw inefficiency and wasted effort, but he also saw ingenuity. A broken conveyor belt had been replaced by a bucket brigade of humans passing parcels from hand to hand. A malfunctioning airlock was being sealed with some kind of quick-hardening foam. These humans, primitive as they were, showed a knack for adapting and overcoming. An eye-opening experience. The next several rotations passed in a blur of tedious briefings on inane subjects like human social etiquette and cultural taboos. Salvador did his best to feign interest while his mind worked on how to achieve his goals. He had to admit, as the sessions went on, that there was more to these humans than he first assumed. Their history was a patchwork of wars and atrocities, but also soaring triumphs and acts of self-sacrifice. Their art and music had a strange beauty, utterly alien to quarry aesthetics. Most surprisingly, Salvador learned that the humans had nearly destroyed themselves in a cataclysmic world war centuries ago, but had somehow pulled back from the brink and united in peace. That spoke to a remarkable capacity for both destruction and cooperation. The unexpected resilience. Still, Salvador never lost sight of his mission. He memorized every scrap of information, probing for weaknesses, looking for leverage. The humans might be more complex than he thought, but that just meant there were more ways to manipulate them. He would not leave this world until he got what he came for. Reflection and determination. Salvador sat in the cramped briefing room, his eyes glazing over as the human instructor droned on about ancient Earth history. The wars these humans fought were so primitive, with their metal swords and crude explosives. Salvador had seen far greater destruction in space combat, but as the lesson went on, a pattern emerged that caught his attention. Time and again, the humans faced overwhelming odds: plagues, famines, tyrants, invasions. By all rights, their fragile civilization should have crumbled. Yet somehow, they'd always managed to pull through. They adapted, they innovated, they banded together. It was almost admirable in a stubborn, foolhardy way. A glimpse of humanity. Salvador saw that same tenacity in the humans he interacted with every rotation. Like that janitor, Jack, who always had a friendly greeting, no matter how many messes he had to clean up. Salvador had overheard him talking with a co-worker once about how he was working 2 jobs to support his sick mother, but you'd never know it from his cheerful demeanor. One rotation, Salvador was struggling to operate the embassy's overly complicated coffee machine. He jabbed at the buttons in frustration, ready to rip the infernal thing from the wall. Suddenly, Jack was at his elbow. A small act of kindness. "Here, let me help with that, Ambassador." Jack's nimble fingers flew over the controls, and soon steaming brown liquid was filling Salvador's mug. "The trick is to press this button twice." Salvador grunted his thanks, oddly touched by the simple gesture. He watched Jack whistle as he walked away, pushing his cleaning cart. These humans were an enigma, so fragile yet so resilient, so divided yet so united in purpose. Could the quarry have misjudged them? Salvador shook his head, his scales rippling. He couldn't afford to go soft. He had a mission to complete. Speaking of which, changing perspectives, uncovering the truth. Salvador pored over the latest intelligence reports, piecing together scraps of information about the coveted resource. The substance was tricky, volatile. The humans' top scientists were still figuring out how to harness its power safely. They had protocols upon protocols to prevent disaster. Salvador rubbed his brow ridges. Acquiring the resource might not be as simple as strolling in and making demands. The humans clearly knew its value and its dangers. They wouldn't give it up easily. This was going to require a more subtle approach. A growing unease. He leaned back in his chair, his tail twitching as he pondered his next move. He had underestimated the humans once. He wouldn't make that mistake again. Salvador paced in his quarters, his tail lashing in agitation. The latest intelligence report glowed on his datapad, the words searing into his mind. The High Council had grown impatient with his lack of progress. They were done waiting for diplomacy. A strike team was already en route with orders to take the resource by any means necessary. A moral dilemma. Salvador's claws dug into his palms as he imagined the carnage that would ensue. The humans, for all their faults, didn't deserve such a fate. But what could he do? He was a loyal son of the Quasar Empire. His duty was clear. The humans were just another primitive species, an obstacle to be overcome. Their art, their music, their stubborn refusal to surrender in the face of adversity, it meant nothing. The mission was all that mattered, wasn't it? Seeking guidance. Salvador thought of Jack, the human who had shown him kindness when he had no reason to. The man worked himself to the bone, yet always had a smile and a friendly word. There was a strength in him, a resilience that Salvador had come to admire. Could he really stand by and watch as his people slaughtered the humans? Could he be part of that? Before he quite knew what he was doing, Salvador found himself outside Jack's tiny office. He knocked, the sound echoing in the empty hallway. Jack opened the door, his eyebrows rising at the sight of the quarry ambassador. Confiding in Jack. "Ambassador Salvador, what can I do for you?" Salvador hesitated, the words sticking in his throat. He had never been one for confiding in others. Quasar culture prized strength and self-reliance above all else. But he was at a loss, torn between duty and his growing respect for these humans. "Jack," he began slowly, "I need your advice. If you were faced with a choice between duty and doing what you believed was right, what would you do?" Jack blinked, clearly taken aback by the question. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully. "That's a tough one, Ambassador. I guess it would depend on what the duty was and who it would hurt. Sometimes the right thing isn't always the easy thing. You have to live with yourself at the end of the day. A difficult decision." Salvador nodded, the weight of Jack's words settling on his shoulders. He had always seen the world in black and white, but now it seemed there were shades of grey. He thanked Jack and left, his mind churning. He had a decision to make. As Salvador lay in his bunk that night, staring at the ceiling, he made his choice. He couldn't allow his people to massacre the humans. He would find another way to secure the resource, one that didn't involve bloodshed. It wouldn't be easy, but he would do whatever it took. He had to. A change of heart. The next day, Salvador contacted the High Council. He explained that he had a new plan, one that would achieve their goals without resorting to violence. They were skeptical but agreed to give him more time. Salvador breathed a sigh of relief. He had bought the humans a reprieve, but now the real work began. He would have to convince the human leaders to share the resource voluntarily, to see that cooperation was in their best interest. It was a daunting task, but Salvador was determined. He would prove that even a quarry could change, that there was another way. Building alliances, forging a new path. Salvador threw himself into his new mission with a fervor he hadn't felt in years. He met with scientists, diplomats, and military officials, learning all he could about the resource and the humans' plans for it. He was impressed by their ingenuity and determination. They had come a long way from the primitive species he had once dismissed. The humans were wary at first, but Salvador's sincerity gradually won them over. He spoke passionately about the potential for cooperation, for a future where both their peoples could thrive. It was a message that resonated. Winning over allies. Ambassador Thompson became a crucial ally. He believed in Salvador's vision and used his influence to sway key leaders. Together, they drafted a proposal for a joint research and development program, one that would benefit both humanity and the Quarry Empire. Salvador worked tirelessly, attending endless meetings, smoothing over conflicts, and building consensus. It was exhausting, but he refused to give up. The stakes were too high. A new understanding. Through it all, Salvador found himself developing a deep respect for the humans. They were far from perfect, but their tenacity and creativity were unmatched. He saw in them a reflection of the quarry's own struggles and aspirations. Perhaps they were not so different after all. The more he learned about their history and culture, the more he came to admire their spirit. He even found himself enjoying their strange, vibrant art and music. It was a revelation that shook him to his core. The proposal. Finally, after weeks of intense negotiations, they had a proposal ready. It was a bold plan, one that required trust and cooperation on both sides. Salvador knew it wouldn't be easy to convince the High Council, but he was determined to try. He returned to his quarters, exhausted but hopeful. As he prepared for the transmission to the High Council, he thought of Jack and his simple wisdom. Sometimes the right thing wasn't the easy thing, but it was worth fighting for. A new beginning. The transmission to the High Council was nerve-wracking. Salvador laid out the proposal, emphasizing the benefits for both their peoples. He spoke from the heart, drawing on everything he had learned during his time on Earth. When he finished, there was a long silence. Then, to his surprise, the council agreed. They would give the joint program a chance. Salvador felt a surge of relief and triumph. It was only the beginning, but it was a start. He had done it. He had found another way. A glimmer of hope. As the joint program began to take shape, Zalveda couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. He had come to Earth with a mission, but he was leaving with so much more. He had discovered a new respect for the humans and a new understanding of himself. He had learned that even in the darkest times, there was always a glimmer of hope, a chance for something better, and that was a lesson worth fighting for. Unexpected challenges, early successes. The joint research program started off promisingly. Scientists from both species collaborated on innovative solutions to harness the resource safely. There were breakthroughs and setbacks, but progress was steady. Zalvador felt a sense of pride as he watched the teams work together. Bridging the gap between their cultures, he had helped make this possible. However, not everyone was happy with the new alliance. There were factions on both sides who viewed the partnership with suspicion and hostility. They saw it as a betrayal, a dangerous gamble that could lead to disaster. Sabotage. One morning, Zalveda was awakened by urgent messages from the research facility. There had been an explosion, a deliberate act of sabotage. Several scientists were injured, and critical equipment was destroyed. Zalveda's blood ran cold. This was exactly what he had feared. He rushed to the scene, his mind racing with questions. Who was behind the attack? What was their goal? How could he stop them? As he arrived at the facility, he saw the devastation firsthand. It was a stark reminder of how fragile their alliance was, how easily it could be torn apart. Investigating the attack, Zalvador immediately launched an investigation, working closely with human and quarry security teams. They combed through the wreckage, searching for clues. It was painstaking work, but gradually, a picture began to emerge. The saboteurs were a rogue faction within the quarry military, opposed to any form of cooperation with the humans. They believed the resource should be taken by force, that any alliance was a sign of weakness. Zalvador felt a surge of anger. These extremists were jeopardizing everything he had worked for. He couldn't let them succeed. A race against time. As the investigation continued, Zalvador found himself facing increasing pressure from both sides. The humans were understandably wary, questioning whether they could trust the quarry. The High Council, meanwhile, was growing impatient with the lack of progress. They demanded results, threatening to withdraw their support if the situation didn't improve. Zalvador was caught in the middle, struggling to keep the fragile alliance from collapsing. He knew he had to act quickly, but the clock was ticking. Turning point. In a desperate bid to salvage the situation, Zalvador proposed a bold plan. He suggested a high-profile joint mission to demonstrate their commitment to the partnership. It would be dangerous, but if successful, it could restore trust and momentum. The mission was risky, requiring careful coordination and precise execution. Zalvador handpicked a team of the best scientists and security personnel from both species. They trained intensively, preparing for every possible contingency. As the day of the mission approached, the tension was palpable. The mission. The mission itself was a harrowing ordeal, fraught with danger at every turn. They encountered mechanical failures, unexpected obstacles, and a near-fatal accident. But through it all, the team worked together, their bond growing stronger with each challenge. They supported each other, drawing on their combined strengths to overcome every obstacle. In the end, they succeeded, achieving their objective and returning safely. The mission was a resounding success, a testament to what they could accomplish together. A new resolve. The mission's success reignited hope and confidence in the joint program. It showed that cooperation was possible, even in the face of adversity. Zalvador felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was more determined than ever to see the program succeed, to prove that their alliance could work. There would be more challenges ahead, but he was ready to face them. He had found a new path, one that he believed in with all his heart, and he was determined to see it through, no matter what. Bridging the divide, cultural exchange. With the joint program back on track, Salvador and his team turned their attention to strengthening the bonds between their peoples. They organized cultural exchange programs, inviting humans and Quarry to learn about each other's traditions, history, and way of life. It was a chance to build understanding and empathy, to break down the barriers that divided them. The exchanges were a great success. Humans marveled at the Quarry's advanced technology and intricate art forms, while the Quarry were fascinated by human creativity and resilience. Friendships blossomed, and misconceptions began to fade. Unexpected friendships. One of the most heartwarming outcomes of the cultural exchanges was the friendship that developed between Salvador and Jack. Despite their differences, they found common ground in their shared commitment to the Alliance. Jack introduced Salvador to human music, and they spent many evenings listening to everything from classical symphonies to modern rock. Salvador, in turn, shared Quarry literature and poetry, opening a window into his people's rich cultural heritage. Their friendship became a symbol of the potential for harmony between their species. A growing movement. The success of the cultural exchanges sparked a growing movement in both societies. People began to see the value in cooperation, in working together for a common goal. Grassroots organizations sprang up, advocating for deeper ties and greater collaboration. Salvador watched with pride as the movement gained momentum. It was a testament to the power of human and Quarry resilience and ingenuity. But not everyone was on board. There were still those who clung to old prejudices and fears, who saw the Alliance as a threat. Overcoming prejudice. One of the biggest challenges Salvador faced was overcoming the deep-seated prejudice that still existed on both sides. He knew it would take time and effort to change minds and hearts. He continued to speak out, advocating for understanding and cooperation. He shared his own journey, his transformation from a skeptic to a believer in the Alliance. His story resonated with many, inspiring them to look beyond their differences and see the potential for something greater. It was a slow process, but Salvador was patient. He knew that real change took time. A symbol of hope. As the joint program continued to thrive, it became a symbol of hope and possibility. It showed that even the most unlikely allies could come together to achieve great things. Salvador felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had come to Earth as an ambassador of a distant empire, but he was leaving as a champion of unity and cooperation. The journey had been difficult, but it had also been incredibly rewarding. He had found a new purpose, a new path, and he was determined to continue walking it. Looking to the future. As Salvador prepared to return to the Quarry Empire, he couldn't help but feel optimistic about the future. He had seen firsthand what could be accomplished when people came together, when they set aside their differences and worked towards a common goal. He knew there would be more challenges ahead, but he was ready to face them. He was confident that the Alliance would endure, that it would continue to grow and thrive, and he was proud to have played a part in it. As his ship lifted off, Salvador looked down at the Earth, a small blue-green dot in the vastness of space. It was a reminder of how far they had come and how much they had achieved, and it was a promise of the bright future that lay ahead. Uniting forces, joint ventures. With the foundation of trust established, Salvador and his team focused on expanding their cooperative efforts. Joint ventures in various fields, including technology, medicine, and agriculture, began to take shape. These projects aimed to combine the strengths of both species, leveraging Quarry advancements in technology and human creativity and resilience. The results were promising, with breakthroughs that neither species could have achieved alone. Educational initiatives. Education became a central pillar of the Alliance. Schools and universities on Earth and in the Quarry Empire started exchange programs, allowing students to learn about each other's cultures, histories, and scientific advancements. Salvador believed that educating the younger generation was crucial for ensuring the long-term success of their partnership. These initiatives fostered a sense of global citizenship and mutual respect among the students. Community projects. At the grassroots level, community projects flourished. Humans and Quarry worked together to address local issues, from environmental conservation to urban development. These projects not only improved living conditions, but also strengthened the bonds between their peoples. Salvador was particularly proud of a joint reforestation project in a deforested region on Earth, which became a symbol of their commitment to healing the planet together. Cultural festivals. Cultural festivals celebrating both human and Quarry traditions became annual events. These festivals showcased the rich diversity of their arts, music, and cuisine. They provided a platform for cultural exchange and helped to break down stereotypes and prejudices. Salvador attended many of these festivals, delighted to see humans and Quarry enjoying each other's cultures and forging lasting friendships. Economic partnerships. Economic partnerships flourished as well. Trade agreements were established, allowing for the exchange of goods and services that benefited both economies. Human businesses gained access to advanced Quarry technologies, while the Quarry Empire benefited from Earth's diverse resources and innovative products. These economic ties further solidified the alliance, creating mutual prosperity. Defense collaboration. Recognizing the importance of security, the alliance also included defense collaboration. Joint military exercises and intelligence sharing enhanced their collective security. This cooperation helped to deter potential threats and demonstrated their commitment to defending their shared interests. Salvador worked closely with military leaders from both sides to ensure effective coordination and mutual trust. Facing new threats. Despite the progress, new threats emerged. Extremist groups opposed to the alliance continued to pose challenges. Salvador remained vigilant, working with human and Quarry authorities to counter these threats. He emphasized the importance of unity and resilience in the face of adversity. The alliance's strength lay in its ability to adapt and overcome obstacles together. A shared vision. As the alliance grew stronger, Salvador and his team articulated a shared vision for the future. They envisioned a world where humans and Quarry lived and worked together in harmony, where their combined efforts led to unprecedented advancements and a brighter future for all. This vision inspired people on both sides and provided a roadmap for their continued collaboration. Legacy of hope. Salvador's work left a lasting legacy of hope and possibility. He had transformed from a skeptic into a champion of unity, proving that even the most entrenched divisions could be overcome with effort and determination. His journey inspired countless others to believe in the power of cooperation and the potential for a better future. A new era. As the alliance entered a new era, Salvador knew that his mission was far from over. There would always be challenges and obstacles to overcome, but he was confident in their ability to face them together. The bonds they had forged were strong, and the lessons they had learned would guide them forward. With a renewed sense of purpose, Salvador looked to the future with hope and determination, ready to continue building a better world for both humans and Quarry. A future together, continuing the journey. The journey of cooperation and understanding between humans and Quarry continued to evolve. With the foundation firmly established, the alliance set its sights on even more ambitious goals. Space exploration became a joint venture, with humans and Quarry working together to explore new frontiers and expand their knowledge of the universe. Salvador was thrilled to see their partnership reach new heights. Exploring new worlds. The first joint space mission was a historic event. A crew composed of both humans and Quarry set out to explore a nearby star system. The mission was a testament to their shared curiosity and determination. The crew faced numerous challenges, but their combined skills and mutual support saw them through. The discoveries they made were groundbreaking, opening up new possibilities for both species. Scientific breakthroughs. Back on Earth and in the Quarry Empire, scientific collaborations continued to yield remarkable results. Advances in medicine, energy, and environmental science improved the quality of life for both populations. Salvador was particularly proud of a new energy source developed through their joint efforts, which promised to revolutionize power generation and reduce environmental impact. Cultural integration. Cultural integration deepened, with more people embracing the rich diversity of their combined heritage. Mixed communities flourished, celebrating both human and quarry traditions. Language barriers diminished as more people became fluent in each other's languages. This cultural blending enriched their societies and fostered a sense of global unity. Political cooperation. Political cooperation strengthened as well. Joint councils and committees were established to address shared challenges and govern their collaborative efforts. This political integration ensured that decisions were made with the interests of both species in mind. Zalfador played a key role in these councils, advocating for policies that promoted equality and mutual benefit. Education for the future. Education continued to be a priority. Schools and universities developed curricula that emphasized the importance of cooperation and understanding. Students learned about the history of the alliance, the achievements of their joint efforts, and the importance of working together for a common goal. This education prepared the next generation to carry forward the legacy of unity and progress. Overcoming new challenges. As with any journey, new challenges arose. Economic fluctuations, political tensions, and external threats tested the resilience of the alliance. But Zalfador and his counterparts remained steadfast, addressing these challenges with the same spirit of cooperation and determination that had brought them this far. They knew that their strength lay in their unity. A symbol of unity. The alliance between humans and quarry became a symbol of what was possible when people set aside their differences and worked together. It inspired other species and civilizations to pursue similar paths of cooperation. Zalfador's story was shared widely, becoming a beacon of hope and possibility across the galaxy. Looking ahead. As Zalfador looked ahead, he saw a future filled with promise. The Alliance had accomplished so much, but there was still much more to do. He was excited to see where their journey would take them next. With a sense of pride and optimism, he continued to work towards their shared goals, confident that the best was yet to come. A lasting legacy. Zalfador's legacy was one of unity, cooperation, and hope. He had shown that even the most entrenched divisions could be overcome with effort and determination. His journey inspired countless others to believe in the power of working together. As he reflected on his experiences, he knew that he had played a part in building a better future for both humans and quarry. A bright future. The future was bright, filled with endless possibilities. Humans and quarry would continue to explore, innovate, and build together. Their partnership had transformed their worlds and opened up new horizons. Zalfador was proud to have been a part of this incredible journey, and he looked forward to the adventures that lay ahead. Together, they would continue to shape a future of peace, progress, and prosperity for all.